Let's go ahead and take a look at Premiere Pro Gmetrics Practice Test 1. To get started, we're going to need to deal with a minor bug right out of the gate after opening our test. To get access to our Gmetrics panel, we're going to need to put our mouse over our Premiere Pro icon at the bottom of the screen. Next, move your mouse to the window on the right, the one containing text, and you should see it pop open just like this. Then we're going to go ahead and click on this X to close that window. And that's going to force the program to sort of reload here. When the screen pops up, we're just going to press OK, and anytime you see that, you can pretty much just press OK. Now you'll see that this has finally properly loaded inside of this Gmetrics panel here. We're going to go ahead and click and drag from the panel name right here, and just put it right next to the other one, let go, and now we have Gmetrics in the proper place. Now that we've dealt with that sort of annoying bug, we can finally go ahead and get started. For task number 1 here, we're told to use the drop-downs to correctly complete the following statements. To more clearly view the image, temporarily widen the question panel as needed. Well, it's kind of hard to see this screen and see what this question is asking about. So we're going to use the tilde key on our keyboard located next to the number 1 key to the left of it in order to make this panel bigger. It is important that we put our mouse over this panel before doing so. So we'll go ahead and press that tilde key. You'll see that that makes the panel much larger and will full screen it for us. Again, that is the tilde key to the left of the number 1. Now that this is larger, we can actually get an idea of what we're looking at. So what we're looking at here is the project management screen of Adobe Premiere Pro. So the following image represents a project being archived using and we have a few different options in this dropdown: individual clips, preset, or sequence. Luckily, this question is going to be pretty straightforward, and it's just a matter of reading the information that they already give you. Even if we're not familiar with using this interface, this really is just, at its core, a reading question. So we're looking to see if any of these options are on our screen here: individual clips, preset, or sequence. Well, the one that stands out to me is the word sequence. We see that in fairly big letters right here at the top: source, sequence. I bet that's going to be our answer right there. Next, it says we're using that as the source and using blank as the format. So we're just going to go ahead and look for format, and again, it's right here, and we see that it says QuickTime. We'll go ahead and select QuickTime right there. And lastly, it will or will not rename media files to match clip names. And again, this is just a reading question. We're just looking to see if it will rename media files or it will not. And we'll see that there's a checkbox right here on the right that says rename media files to match clip names. So it will rename the media files. We'll go ahead and select will, and then we'll do next. And this is going to go ahead and check our answer, and we are, of course, correct. We'll go ahead and select next. And again, we're getting this prompt where we can just go ahead and press OK. That's fine. Which of the following is a codec considered the correct choice for video distribution online or on social media platforms? The options given are MOV, MP3, AVI, and H.264. Now, I could tell you the answer here, but I do want to point out an important feature of Gmetrics before we move on, and that is the Help button located in the bottom left. If we click on the Help button, it will give us a little bit of information to help us answer this question. Now, it is important to note that this button will not be available on the certification exam, nor will it be available in testing mode on Gmetrics. This is only available in training mode. So we'll go ahead and close that down for now, and let's walk through each of these options. MOV is a format that is most often these days associated with shooting, capturing footage. So it is possible to use this for sharing media out to people, but in a lot of cases, we are using this for shooting and capturing these days. MP3 is an audio-only format. So this is the sort of thing that you might hear a song come in. So songs are very often in MP3 format. Very lightweight and easy to share, but only sound. Next is AVI. AVI is an older video format that isn't as heavily used these days. It is most often associated with Windows-based systems and editing. Lastly, we have H.264, and this is sort of our current gold standard for distribution for sharing our videos out to the world. So that is the one we're looking for, is H.264. It makes our videos nice and small and really still looking really, really good. Now, in modern times, we do have newer versions of this. We actually have the H.265 standard, which has been slowly seeing wider adaptation. But for now, H.264 is still used all over the place. So H.264 is our answer. We'll go ahead and select next. On task number 3, we come to our first performance-based task. This is going to have us actually performing the actions inside of Adobe Premiere Pro in order to show our knowledge. In this question, it is asking us to trim the guitar.mp4 clip down to 5 seconds without leaving any gaps in the sequence. Do not change the duration of any other clips. So there's a couple different components to this question, but first we need to know which one is the guitar.mp4 clip. If we look at our timeline here, and I zoom out using minus, you'll see that there are actually 3 different video clips on this timeline. If we zoom in using plus, or just by clicking and dragging on the slider right here to zoom in and zoom out, we should be able to read the names of each of these clips. So this first one is guitar.mp4, followed by microphone.mp4, and then band.mp4. So the one that we're working with today is this guitar.mp4, and we're told to trim it down to 5 seconds. Now, when we're doing these problems, it is important that we are exact with our measurements. Anything other than exactly 5 seconds will not work for this question. So how do we go about finding 5 seconds? Well, it's not nearly as hard as it might sound. We're just going to click on our time code at the top here, and we're going to type in 5, semicolon, 00, and then press enter, and that will take us to exactly 5 seconds. We can also do the same thing just using our arrow keys to move left or right, or using the J, K, and L keys. But my preferred way, and I think the fastest way, is just to type 5, semicolon, 00 right here, and that will take you to 5 seconds into your edit. Next is going to have us shorten down our clip here. And so that's what it's saying with the trim to 5 seconds. I'm going to grab the end of this video clip until my mouse turns red, just placing my mouse on the end of the video clip. And I'm going to hold down with my left finger on the trackpad and slide this over to the 5 second mark. Now I seem to have lost my 5 second mark from earlier, so again, I'm just going to go to my time code up here, press 5, semicolon, 00, and that will show us this blue line is 5 seconds. We'll trim our video clip down to 5 seconds exactly, and it might be worth it to zoom all the way in. I just hit plus several times just to make sure this is exactly 5 seconds, and it's lining up with that line, so that looks great. Next, we're just going to move these other 2 clips, and there's a couple different ways of doing this. Probably the easiest is just going to be going one at a time, holding down the mouse, grabbing the clip from the center, and grabbing from the center is very, very important here, and then letting go. We'll slide this one over, let go, and that is going to not leave any gaps in the sequence. We've closed that off, so we don't have any blank video in between these clips. That should be the final step here, so we'll go ahead and select next. And we are, once again, correct. I'm going to go ahead and select next. Without changing the center position, set the scale of the microphone.mp4 clip to 150. Now the way that we're going to go ahead and do this is first identify which one is the microphone clip. Again, we're going to go down to our timeline and zoom out. We can just grab onto the handles here and stretch them out to be able to see more. And we are looking for the microphone clip. We can zoom in to actually read the name and make sure that we're on the microphone clip. It is the clip that has, well, a microphone in it. I'm going to zoom out here so we can see it a little bit better. So in order to change the size of this clip without changing the center position, the easiest way to do this is going to be to click on your video clip, go to Window at the top, and select Effect Controls if it's not already open, and you'll see that this blue box has appeared around my Effect Controls panel. To change the size, we're going to use the Scale parameter right here. So we're just going to click on this 100, and we're going to type in 150, then press Enter on our keyboard. And you'll see that this has zoomed in the clip and increased the scale of it, which makes it fulfill the requirements for this question. We're going to go ahead and click Next, and I'll check our answer, and we are once again correct. For task number 5, we're going to add a single adjustment layer over all the clips in the sequence. Add a tint color correction to the adjustment layer. Adjustment layers are used to add an effect to a bunch of different videos at once. To add an adjustment layer, we're going to go to Window, and then we're going to go to Projects. And in this case, we have a bunch of different open projects here. It's probably going to be whatever is the highest number here. And that is actually not correct. Let's go to Window, and then Projects. And they really do keep this rather unorganized for us, don't they? My second guess is this concert.prproj, and I think that is actually the one we are looking for. So Window, and then Projects, and then concert.premiere.project. And that's going to open up this panel right here. To create a new adjustment layer, we're going to click on the sticky note located at the bottom, just left click. We're going to go to Adjustment Layer, again making sure we left click, and press OK. Next, we're going to zoom out on our timeline, and there's a bunch of different ways to do this as we've already discussed. We're going to drag our adjustment layer on top of all of our other videos, and then we're just going to place our mouse on the end of that adjustment layer we just added to turn it red, and we're going to stretch this all the way to the end of our edit. Next, we need to apply the tint effect to our adjustment layer. We'll go up to Window at the top, go down to Effects, go to Video Effects, Color Correction, and Tint is right here. We're going to click and drag this onto our adjustment layer. You'll see that it has turned our video clip black and white, and in fact, it has turned all of our video clips into black and white, which is what we are looking for. So the tint effect takes whatever effect you put onto the adjustment layer, the adjustment layer takes whatever effect you put onto the adjustment layer and applies it to all the videos underneath. So this is very useful for applying a bunch of effects all at once. We're going to just zoom in and make sure that our adjustment layer is the same length as our video, and it is, before hitting Next. And again, we are correct here. Next, apply Lumetri color to the guitar.mp4 clip and change the creative look to SL Blue Moon. As always, there's a lot of different ways of doing this, but first, we are going to need to identify our guitar clip, and that's the first one in our edit. We'll go ahead and click on guitar.mp4. Now, when I'm working with Lumetri Color, which is the color correction application inside of Adobe Premiere Pro, I always like to do it from the Lumetri panel. We're going to go to Window, go down to Lumetri Color, and this will open the Lumetri Color panel. Inside of Creative, we're going to go to Look, select this dropdown, and we're looking for SL Blue Moon. So SL Blue Moon is right here. We'll click on SL Blue Moon. You'll see that it makes our image look a lot more blue and gives it that creative flair that you might see in a music video. We're going to go ahead and press Next to move on to the next question. Next, from 15 seconds to 20 seconds, fade out the audio track with the volume settings. Use the timeline markers for reference. So we're going to go ahead and close our Lumetri panel since we don't need it anymore. Clicking on these tabs next to Lumetri and just doing Close Panel. To give ourselves a little bit more room to work, I'm going to put my mouse on the left edge of our Geometrics panel and just slide it over to the right. Bring my mouse over to our timeline, grab this edge, and slide it over to the right. And this will just give us a lot more room to work. I'm going to click on my timeline and zoom out using minus. And you'll see that we have these two different markers on our timeline. If we hold Shift and click and drag our playhead underneath the green markers, you'll see that it jumps our time from 15 to 20. Very conveniently, that 15 to 20 second frame or interval is what we're looking for this question. So this tells us to fade out the audio track, that's going to be this green one, using the volume settings. We've moved our playhead to the first marker, and our time reads 15 seconds, exactly what we're looking for. So we're going to go to our levels parameter right here. We want to add a keyframe by clicking on this little diamond in our effects panel. And if you don't have your effects panel here, that's okay. We can get it back by going to Window, Effect Controls. And that's going to open up this Effect Controls panel that we're working with. Once we go to Effect Controls and we've added our keyframe with this diamond, we're just going to move our playhead to the second marker. And holding Shift can make that a little bit easier. So hold down Shift and just move your playhead to that second marker and it should lock in. Here we're just going to drag this 0 dB all the way to the left, and it can help if you hold down Shift, makes it go a lot faster. And we just want to be as far to the left as we can. So now it shows negative infinity. Sometimes it might show negative 281 instead, which is basically the same thing, and I think that should also work. So now you'll see we've created this downward line, and if we go ahead and listen to this, you'll see that it makes our sound quieter as it goes on, which is exactly what we are looking for here. Now, one small thing to check on here is we do want to make sure that our keyframe, this diamond right here, is lined up with the 20-second mark, and it is. It would be very easy to accidentally bring it all the way to the end, and I think that would be considered incorrect for Gmetrix. We're going to go ahead and select Next. And that is correct. We'll go ahead and hit Next again. Now, question 8, the last one that we're going to do for this session. Animate the opacity of the stars 1 layer to fade out from 100% at 5 seconds to 0% at 6 seconds with the Effect Controls panel. As always, we want to start by figuring out which video clips they're talking about. So stars 1 is going to be this one right here. And it tells us that we need to start doing something at 5 seconds. I'm going to click off of everything here, click on my timecode, and type in 5:00 to move our playhead to 5 seconds into our edit. Now again, I've clicked off to make sure I don't have anything selected, and that's going to be a very important step here. Next, we're going to click on the stars 1 layer, and that should open up in our Effect Controls panel. Again, if we need to get that back, we can go to Window, Effect Controls, and that will bring our Effect Controls panel back for us. We're going to add a keyframe by clicking on this stopwatch right here to add a 100% opacity keyframe at this 5-second mark. Then we're going to move our playhead to the 6-second mark, again holding Shift to help snap it into place. Now, the default behavior for Premiere Pro, and it didn't used to do this back when I started getting used to this program, but the default behavior for Premiere Pro is that when you move the playhead, it will automatically try to select something for you. And that something is not always what you want it to select. So we do need to be very careful that we click off of everything once we move the playhead, click on the stars 1 layer, and then we're going to click on this blue 100 and type in 0, press Enter, and that's going to add our second keyframe onto the stars 1 layer. So do be very, very careful that the layer we are adding keyframes to is the stars 1 layer. We should not see any blue on our stopwatch for opacity on the second clip, and this should be 100% for the second clip. If we go back, we can see what changing this opacity for our stars 1 layer has done. So I'll rewind a little bit and we'll play this. And you'll see that it just slowly and smoothly fades from one video to the next, which is exactly what we're looking for. We're going to go ahead and hit Next to check our answer. And again, we are correct. At this time, we're going to want to take a breather. We've been working hard. So we're going to go ahead and screenshot the progress that we have made so far. To do so, we're going to click on the Summary tab at the bottom of Gmetrix, and we're going to screenshot this panel. To do that, we're going to, using our left hand, hold down the Windows key on our laptop. Using our right hand, we're going to press F10, located above the number 0 on our laptop. You'll see that the screen went dark, and that shows that we have just taken a picture. We're going to scroll down to questions 6, 7, and 8 because we cannot see those questions in our previous screenshot. And again, we're going to use Windows F10 to take another screenshot of our progress. Once we have 2 screenshots that show that we've completed questions 1 through 8, we're just going to go ahead and submit those on Google Classroom. If you already know where to find those screenshots, then that'll wrap up this one. But if you need help finding those screenshots, stick around and I can show you how to do that. To find those screenshots, we're going to go to our folder at the bottom here, this File Explorer. Then we're going to go to Pictures on the left, double click on Screenshots, and it should be the screenshot with the highest number. So that's going to be screenshot 14 and 15 in my case, the ones that we just captured. So turn those in on Google Classroom to make sure you're receiving credit for all your hard work. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye now.